On episode 178 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, I share 11 of my best weight loss lessons learned. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/178. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. You know, whenever you go through a big challenge in your life, you tend to learn some things. You learn some things about yourself and you learn some things about life in general. And my weight loss journey, I did learn quite a bit. And as you know, I kind of dove in head first to become a certified personal trainer. But I think the real learning came after that, when I was really focused on the rest of what's involved with weight loss. And I want to share some of that with you today, so you can learn from the lessons that I've had, and hopefully not repeat or not have problems with these. So, the 11 best weight loss lessons I've learned. The first one is exercise is important, but not for weight loss. You know, a lot of people want to do the calories in, calorie out model. They want to exercise, they want to do the cardio to burn more calories. I've never quite understood that concept. It's kind of like wanting to get some of the wood off of a train, so you just run the train faster, so you have to throw more wood in the train to keep the train going. But just eating food for the sake of eating food, so you can fuel a workout that you're then going to try to burn more calories, when in the real sense, a slight deficit in calories is probably going to give you most of what you want in a general weight loss pattern. So most diets will tell you, just plan on losing about a pound a week on average. That's not every week because it's not going to be linear. But don't think you're going to exercise yourself out of a bad diet. It really does come down to how much food you're eating and what types of food you're eating and how those are affecting your body. That's really going to lead to lasting weight loss. If you try to push yourself too hard, you're probably going to break, and you're probably not fueling yourself well enough. And that's just going to create some metabolic problems for you. So while exercise is important for all of the other fitness modalities, it shouldn't be your only weight loss thing. You should really be focused on what you're putting in your mouth. And the reason I'm going to say that is because of number 2, which is weight loss comes from insulin. And you have to reduce your total insulin load so that your body can then burn fat for energy. And as long as you have an elevated insulin level, you're not going to be able to do that. So how do we end up with an elevated insulin level? Well, that happens because we're eating too much sugar and too much simple carbs. And as a result of having too much blood sugar, insulin spikes to protect the brain. The brain can only handle so much blood sugar. So to protect the brain, the body releases insulin, and insulin will take the blood sugar out of the blood. And what does it do with it? Well, it stores it as fat. And as long as you have insulin in your system, you're not going to be able to lose fat, period. Just won't happen. So if you have insulin resistance or you're taking insulin because you're diabetic, you're going to have difficulty losing weight. So you're really going to have to limit your sugars and your simple carbs so that you're not getting those higher insulin levels. And it may take you years to break that insulin resistance to get down to a point where your body is functioning with as little insulin as possible. And that may take some time, but it really is about what you put in your mouth. One of the things I really didn't understand, this is number 3, when I got into my weight loss journey was, why sometimes I would get really, really hungry and why sometimes it seemed like I couldn't get full. And that comes down to the next hormone that I want to talk about, and that's ghrelin. Now, ghrelin is effectively your hunger hormone, and ghrelin tends to be cyclical. And I didn't know this, but it literally just runs on your day clock. So, it's basically circadian, and it tends to be at its highest in the evening, and it tends to be at its lowest in the morning. So that's why, for me, I know I'm not really that hungry in the mornings when I wake up. That's for a number of different reasons. I don't have the blood sugar spikes, so my body burns fat overnight, and I have plenty of energy to last me through the night. So when I wake up in the morning, my ghrelin is low, so I'm not hungry. My blood sugar's fine, and I have plenty of energy to make me keep going. So I really don't feel that hunger because, again, the ghrelin's not going to come into play a little bit later. And then in the evenings, I tend to get a little bit more hungry, and that's the ghrelin acting. So just realize that there is a hunger hormone called ghrelin, and it follows a circadian rhythm. And we'll get into why we want to manage our circadian rhythm in another one of these that's coming up. Okay. The next hormone I want to talk about is called leptin. Now, leptin is your satiety hormone, and that's the signaling to the brain that your stomach you got enough food and you're good, you're ready to go. Unfortunately, many of us eat so fast that we don't allow that brain signaling to happen. So the leptin does signal, but by the time it signals, we've eaten more than we really needed to get that leptin signal. It's just, it's a little delayed. So if you'll force yourself to slow down on your eating, you'll allow leptin to work. And that's again, very, very important. Okay, number 5 is the hormone cortisol. And you kind of understand the theme here. Most of what I'm talking about here on my lessons learned is the pivotal role that all of these hormones play. Now, cortisol is the stress hormone. And so when you have cortisol in your system, your body is in a panic mode. It's in a stressed mode. And when we're stressed, like being chased by the bear or the tiger, our body isn't really worried about doing a lot of things like building muscle or managing a lot of things. We end up catabolic, which means we're actually tearing down muscle to stay alive because, our body doesn't expect that this is going to last too long. Unfortunately, we put ourselves under way, way too much stress. And again, when you have higher cortisol levels, you tend to store body fat, okay? And that body fat, unfortunately, tends to be stored towards the midsection, which is kind of the area you don't want it, because that fat right there, that visceral fat that you have in your midsection, is the kind of fat that's going to lead to a heart attack and stroke. So you really want to make sure that you're managing your stress levels as a function of trying to lose weight. And again, very, very important. Now, the 6th one is sleep. Now, remember I told you about the circadian rhythm when we were talking about ghrelin, number 3. Well, sleep and getting good sleep is how we maintain a really good circadian rhythm. And when we're on a proper circadian rhythm, all of our hormones kind of start to balance out for us a little bit. So our sex hormones like testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, they come about. We end up getting our melatonin working the way it's supposed to, so we're not have to worry about that. We sleep well. Once you start sleeping well, it gets easier to sleep well. Once you start sleeping well, you start managing your cortisol levels. And once you start sleeping well, you start managing your ghrelin. And all those hormones working in harmony are what's going to help prime you to lose weight. Now, number 7 is a concept I call out of sight, out of mind. And the reality of it is we are inundated with fast food commercials and fast food restaurants everywhere. We have all kinds of desserts and all kinds of pastries and whatnot. You literally cannot walk through a grocery store, through any of the middle aisles of a grocery store without just seeing tons of, crap, processed crap. So when you do your grocery shopping, and we covered this a little bit on the How to Get Good Food episode, and I'll link to that in the show notes, but you really want to make sure that you're working your way around the outside of the grocery store and getting the best quality food you can afford, because that's going to fuel your body. And if that's the kind of food that you take home, then that's what you're going to have. If you've got the popcorn and the chips and the pretzels and all the crap sitting in your pantry, you're going to see it. If you've got it in your refrigerator, you're going to see it. Now, I know it's not always practical to say I'm not going to have those things, particularly if not everyone in your home is going through the same challenge that you are of trying to lose weight or trying to eat more healthy. But just understand that having it available to you is going to make it harder for you to resist when you're fatigued on decision making. So if you can, segregate the food that you would eat and put it into a different part of your cabinets or pantry. Don't go into the pantry if that's where their food is stored, if that's where their cereals and crap is. Have your food, your snacks, your nuts, your things that are good for you to eat, have those in a different location so you're not going to stumble across and try to skip over the cheese crisps for the sake of trying to get to your walnuts that you've prepared and have ready. So again, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't have that stuff in your house, you're much less likely to binge on it or get it when you find yourself in that mode. And then this is maybe one of the biggest one. I probably should have put this either in the front or the back, but it's a big deal. And without this, none of this really works. You can have all the intelligence and understand. You can try all the strategies in the world, but a decision is not enough. And so number 8 is the decision is not enough. I had made a decision in my 20s that I was going to stay in shape. I had made a decision in my 30s that I was going to get back in shape. And I was still sitting there in my mid 40s, not in the shape that I needed to be in. Why was that? And the reality was the decision was not enough. I needed to commit. I needed to commit for very emotional reasons. I needed to have something backing me that was more than just some decision. That's why as we're coming on to the new year here and people are going to be doing resolutions, don't just do a resolution. Make a commitment. Make a commitment to be healthier. Make a commitment to lose the weight that you want to lose for the right reasons, and have those reasons, that why, deep in your heart. Know why you're doing it and know what you want to accomplish, what that vision looks like, and then you've got a target and you've got a reason, you've got a momentum behind you that's going to hold you through the toughest of the times. So again, decision is not enough. You need to commit. Number 9 is love yourself. So that commitment, even though it might be to your grandchild, or it might be to other family members, or it might be to just about anything, if it's not somewhat based in loving yourself, then you're not going to be as successful as you need to be. You know, I'm sure you've heard this in relationship counseling, and I'm not a counselor, so I'm not going to profess to know all this. But the basis of any relationship is that you have to love yourself to love someone else. Okay, so to make this commitment, you've really got to have that internal self-love. So practice self-love every day. And what I mean by that is, it's kind of a deal where they talk about when you're on an airplane and they tell you, if the oxygen masks drop, put your oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. And the reality of that is they know that if you don't take the time to put on your oxygen mask and something were to happen, you may not have enough oxygen to help them, and then they may not be able to help you. So doing a little bit for yourself is going to put you in the position to be better for them. So again, you have to show self-love. You have to do things for yourself. You have to make the time to go work out. You have to make the time to prepare good foods for yourself. And even if you have to prepare something on the side for them, make it happen. Make it happen because you have self-love and you have that commitment, and you work those two together. Okay, number 10 is the scale is not a measurement of health. And I'll repeat that. The scale does not measure health. The scale has a number that's the mass that you are on this earth, and that's all it is. And the best way for me to kind of depict this is there's 2 ways I like to say it. One, that a lot of people just they don't find it very happy-go-lucky, but this is the way I feel about it is if you don't care about your body, you don't care about your health, you just want to weigh less, then cut off one of your legs. Because that's what you're doing if you're not really managing your health along with your weight. If all you care about is weight, start cutting off body parts, and that's the fastest, easiest way for you to lose weight. It's not the best way to lose weight, but it is a way because, again, you just want to lose weight. Another way I like to picture this is to say, if I told you that you could drop 6 dress sizes and weigh the same amount, or you could weigh 40 pounds less but be the same size, which would you choose? And now I think you ought to see the math on that. Most people would probably choose the smaller dress size, the smaller clothes size, because they understand what that looks like. So when you're focused on health, there's a few things that you should really be focused on. And the key is this: how do you look and how do you feel? And the reality of look is it's not really about your waist size. It's not really about all of that. If you feel really good, and when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, your eyes look good, your skin looks good, and you're feeling good, all those things together, that's got to be the goal. That's where you should be focused. So the scale is not going to define health. You could lose 100 pounds and not be healthy, any healthier. To be honest, you may even be less healthy depending on how you lost that weight. So don't let the scale define you. Don't let the scale beat you. Don't let the scale be the reason that you stop because you're not seeing it on the scale. If you're feeling better, if you're looking better, that's what you need to be focused on. So focus on those 2 things and not the scale. And then number 11, don't go it alone. It's hard. It is really hard to lose weight today. There's just such an abundance of food, and much of it is just not healthy for us. So it's just so difficult to go through this struggle together. Now, I created the Facebook page, and you can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/group. That'll take you to the Facebook page, and that's an awesome place for you to interact directly with me and with other listeners on this podcast, and really kind of just open up to what your needs are. And you have partners there, you have people there that are willing to help you. So if you don't have someone at home, if you don't have a partner there, someone that's really engaged in helping you succeed, come join us on the Facebook page, and you don't have to do this alone. So I'm just going to do a brief little recap of each one. So number one, exercise is important, but not for weight loss. Okay, so you want to get stronger, you want to maintain muscle mass, you maybe want to build some mobility, you may want to work on your balance. There's a lot of other things that you might want to work on using exercise, but weight loss should not be the core focus of your exercise program. You may want to build cardiovascular endurance, and that's awesome too. But again, not for the sake of just burning calories thinking that's going to help you lose weight, because it typically backfires. Number two, insulin is what makes you fat. If you allow your blood sugar to spike up and down, insulin's going to spike up and down, and you are not going to be able to lose the fat that you want to. So limiting your simple carbs and limiting your sugar is the surest way to getting a balanced level, insulin level, that's going to help you lose the weight. Ghrelin is what makes you hungry. And this is number three. Ghrelin is what makes you hungry. And if you're doing everything right and you're on a good circadian rhythm, your ghrelin cycles are going to run. But realize ghrelin spikes in the evening, so that's going to make you a little hungrier in the evening. So just being aware of that, being aware that that's when decision fatigue's in there, and being prepared for that makes it easier for you to manage that process. Leptin is the satiety hormone. So if you don't give that hormone an opportunity to do the signaling it's supposed to do, you may overeat. So eat a little bit slower, take your time, and let that satiety hormone do its job, and you'll end up eating less and feel satiated earlier. Okay? Cortisol. Number five is cortisol, and cortisol is a stress hormone. And if you have high cortisol, if you're under a lot of stress, you're going to struggle with weight loss. It's just a fact. So managing your stress, making sure you're doing the right things for yourself on that level is going to help you maintain your cortisol levels, so that, again, you're not storing body fat in the stomach area, which, again, is the least healthy way for you to store body fat. Okay, number six, sleep. Find ways to improve your sleep. Get better sleep. It isn't always longer sleep. It's just better sleep. If you're getting good full sleep cycles, your hormone levels are going to balance out, and you're going to feel and look a lot better. And it's going to make it easier and easier as you kind of get ahead on this whole hormone curve. Okay, number seven, out of sight, out of mind. So if you don't want to eat it, don't have it in your house. If you just have to segregate it. But have a plan and figure out how you're going to avoid those situations where you've got it in front of you, and now you're compelled to do something that you don't want to do. So out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Number eight is the decision is not enough. You have to make a commitment. You have to make a commitment to be healthier. You have to make a commitment to be more fit. If those are the things that you need in your life, you have to really make that emotional commitment. And that comes from, again, number 9, self-love. You have to love yourself to make this work. Number 10, the scale does not measure health, okay? How you look and how you feel should mean so much more to you than the number on the scale. There are too many things that we're measuring on the scale that are not fat, that's not bad stuff, that you really just can't rely on the scale to be the best measure. Now, over time, you very likely will lose weight. You very likely will see the scale go down. That should not be your primary design. You should be focused on how you look, how you feel. Be healthier, and then the weight loss will happen. And then finally, don't go it alone. Find some partners. Find some people that you can engage with. All kinds of studies show that if you have that accountability, if you have people like mine, you're going to do better. So there you have it. 11 lessons that I learned during my weight loss journey. Do you have some that you've learned? Please go to the comments section on our show notes at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/178 and let us know what you've learned. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we meet Doug Hinch and discuss his book, Positively Resilient. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.